Temos aqui mais um vídeo do How to Survive. E desta vez é um tsunami.
You're on a beach, not a worry in the world. The sun bronzing your skin, sand trickling between your toes,
Já.
the sound of waves. Wait, what? Where did all the water go? Did you see it going out? Better act quickly. In a matter of minutes, you may be underwater. Here's how to survive a tsunami, according to science. Tsunamis are triggered by intense underwater activity, usually an earthquake or an underwater volcanic eruption. These events displace huge volumes of water, pushing it up from the ocean's floor to its surface. But when gravity pulls it back down, all this built-up energy is released outwards, forming deadly waves that grow stronger as they ripple across the ocean.
Yep.
A tsunami's waves can be 100 kilometers long and sometimes taller than 30 meters. They can travel across whole oceans, moving at the speed of a jet airplane. So with such speed, strength, and stamina, how does anyone stand a chance? Even in a tsunami hazard zone, you can still survive if you know what to do.
Okay.
The first step to survival is to be able to identify
Stay
the early
quiet,
signs of a tsunami. The Pacific
quiet.
Ocean is home to volatile tectonic activity, which explains why 75% of the world's volcanic eruptions and 90% of the world's earthquakes occur in the Pacific. These geological disturbances are the reason why 85% of all tsunamis happen in the Pacific Ocean. In most cases, an earthquake comes before a tsunami, so if you're near the coast and you experience an earthquake, protect yourself from that first. But once the
Oh, mano, estes gajos do How to Survive, mano, eu não sei, mano. Nada poderia ser mais óbvio do que... Olha, se estiveres ao pé da costa e se levares com um terremoto, proteste do terremoto primeiro.
shaking stops, move to higher ground as quickly as possible. The beach will grow bigger. Run the other way. An early sign of an impending tsunami is that the
O que é que ele disse?
run the other way as possible. The beach will grow bigger. Run the other way.
Então o gajo queria que eles corressem para onde? Para dentro d'água? Em caso de tsunami?
An early sign of an impending tsunami is that the water along the coast will recede. It pulls back and exposes the sea floor. Do not go to the beach to investigate.
Yep.
You'll only be putting yourself at risk for when the water surges back. Instead, head in the opposite direction. Try to get as far as 3.5 kilometers from the ocean, or 30 meters above sea level to ensure your safety. Get to the highest elevation possible. Tsunamis travel quickly, and you may not have enough time to clear the hazard zone. In this case, look for a tall building with a sturdy concrete foundation. If you see one nearby, run inside and get to the roof as quickly as possible. If you can't make it to a building in time, your best bet is to grab onto something and hold on. Though that might not sound very practical, hold the eye roll for a moment. In the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, an Indonesian woman was finally rescued after holding onto a palm tree for 5 days straight. While it isn't ideal, if you can't get to higher ground in time, you need to find something to hold on to. As the tsunami moves inland, it will sweep tons of debris along with it. This can be very dangerous, as the accumulation of debris traveling at high speeds become fatal obstacles for anyone who's caught in the current. However, many tsunami victims have been saved by climbing on to detached roofs or holding on tightly to floating cars or other large objects. Of course, if you've made it this far, your troubles aren't over yet. A tsunami isn't one wave, but a series of waves known as a tsunami wave train. Waves may be anywhere from 5 minutes apart to an hour apart.
Okay.
And be aware that the first wave that hits isn't always the strongest.
Okay.
So even when you think it's over, stay where you're safe until you hear from local officials.
Okay.
It goes without saying, tsunamis are terrifying. And when a 30-meter wave is hurtling towards you at 800 kilometers per hour, you're probably feeling pretty helpless. But have faith in science, trust empirical research, and you'll see there's always a way out. We'll keep showing you, one episode at a time, on According to Science.
Isto não é How to Survive. Isto é According to Science. Mas eu quero mais ver. Há outros How to Survive, mas é tipo mais de animais, meu. Esses são fixe. Swallowing a Sword, man. What? How to Survive World War III. É este mesmo que temos que ver. Mas estes gajos puseram um Putin na capa. Há 3 semanas.
Our planet is on the brink of another world war.
Oh, bro.
As a civilian, you feel like the only thing you can do is wait for updates on what will happen next. But then you see a massive explosion off in the distance, and your whole house begins to shake. The first attacks are underway. And with no official government plan on how to stay safe, your fate is in your own hands. Here's how to survive World War III. International relationships are pretty tense right now, so the idea of a global war breaking
O avô da Vicky tinha um bunker em casa. Mas aqui em Portugal? Então já não tem porquê.
out isn't far-fetched. Some countries, such as Sweden, Germany, and Lithuania, are even educating their citizens on preparing for a potential war.
Bro,
So, should you start preparing too?
Claro.
What should you do if your hometown becomes
Então e esse bunker ficou para quem? Foda-se, ok. Estás a brincar comigo, mano, que a gente compra já isso e fazemos já um bunker em Sintra, puto.
the war zone? How could you escape? And where would it be safe to go?
É da Vicky, puto. Mano, espero que me ligues. Espero que me ligues em caso de catástrofe natural, ok?
Are some tips to help you survive. Number 1. Prepare for disaster. Some people might think you're crazy, but it's never too early to start planning for a national emergency. You'll need a basic emergency survival kit. It doesn't have to be too complicated, just some basic supplies in an easy-to-carry bag or container. You should have things like water, non-perishable food, a first aid kit, any essential medications, and some multi-purpose tools. Once you have your kit together, start working on an emergency plan. Discuss emergency meeting locations in the event of an attack. Decide on safe, familiar places where your family can go for protection or to reunite. And make sure to practice this emergency plan. It will be very easy to forget all the details during the hysteria of a national crisis. And that brings us to our next point.
Qual é que será o next
Number
point?
2. When the attack happens, don't panic.
Eu não...
Yes, this is easier said than done. But in the event of a crisis, it is crucial to focus and make decisions based on logic, not emotions.
Stay fucking
Remove
calm!
Windows, any large objects, and move towards the lower levels of your home immediately. If you live in a building, do not use the elevators. Take the stairs instead. Being underground in the basement while the attack is happening will reduce your chances of getting injured.
Ok.
If you're lucky enough to survive the initial attack, don't waste any time and start inspecting your home immediately. Determine whether it can still be used as reliable shelter for yourself and your family. If the damage to your home is significant, you need to evacuate and start looking for alternative places to stay in. Number 3.
Eu também tenho.
Get away from potential targets. Now that your city is under attack, you're best to get away from anything that might be the next target of a strike. This means any important or famous buildings, monuments, large bridges, tunnels, and known military bases.
Eu vou passar a 25 de Abril.
You'll want to hit the roads quickly, because it's only a matter of
Mano, isto é uma filmagem do World War Z, puto, que é esta merda.
time before there's chaos on the streets.
Isto é uma filmagem do World War Z, puto. É os zombies a correr.
Quickly, because it's only a matter of time before there's chaos on the streets.
Esta merda é West.
Use a detailed map to find alternative routes out of the city with less traffic during an evacuation.
Ok.
GPS phone applications are good too.
Oh bro, ok. Mano, imaginem, tipo, no meio de uma guerra, ligar o
But you won't
GPS.
know how long you can rely on cell networks.
Obrigado!
Number 4. Find shelter. For your best chance at survival, you'll need to set up a new home base away from the combat. This can be a community center, a hospital, a shopping mall, or a friend's home. Essentially, you're looking for a location that still has running water, electricity, and heating. Keep in mind that power grids could go down at any moment as the result of a bombing or even a cyber attack. So you probably want to find somewhere that also has a fuel or solar powered generator just in case. Number 5. Be ready for nuclear warfare. If a global war breaks out in this day and age, nuclear weapons will likely be used. And that really complicates your emergency plan. If you see a nuclear flash, the first thing to do is get behind a barrier in case the shockwave comes your way. And then you've got to find an enclosed shelter quickly. You've only got about 15 to 20 minutes before nuclear fallout starts coming down. So cover your mouth and nose with a rag and close your eyes. Yes, this may make it more difficult to locate shelter, but it will protect you from possible nuclear fallout. Try to get to the inner part of a building, somewhere you could be protected by thick concrete, and ideally be underground. Once you've found shelter, be sure to remove your outer layer of clothing and your mouth cover. Seal them in a plastic bag and clean yourself as soon as possible.
Oh bro, isto é tão
And then,
irrealista.
get comfortable. You'll want to stay in your shelter for at least a day to ensure the dangers of radiation have been eliminated. With these tips, you should be able to stay holed up in a safe place until all of this blows over. Now, all you need to worry about is keeping your sanity while you wait alone in your shelter. But rest assured, we've got just the video to help you get through it on how to survive.
A Nuclear Apocalypse. Oh puta, eu não acredito nesta merda. How to Survive a Nuclear Apocalypse. Este acho que vamos querer ver depois, malta. Hoje já não vamos ver este, mas acho que é uma boa hipótese para vermos depois.